World of YouTube, Terraful Sight here. And today we're going over a little bit of a missing 411 with David Paulides. Now, this guy is supposed to be an ex-cop. He was getting ruffled up throughout the Maura Murray case. I don't know. I should have watched him before I even listened to people, but he does and seems legit. And in this episode on Amazon, if anybody wants to check out 2019, hunters have disappeared from the woodlands without a trace for hundreds of years. David here presents the haunting true stories of hunters experiencing the... I don't know, I go to read all this half the time and they don't even give you the full description. It sucks. But hunters missing. And what I've been saying in my videos, my research, and this was before this is the first time I've ever watched this. First time. And there are, mind you, people in here talking about the crazy mountains. Woohoo! You think that's crazy? Well, it's crazy enough to think that the word mountain, crazy mountains, exists. But Native Americans ran that mountain, and it is said to be cursed. And after you hear these stories, oh man. One of them in particular, but then again I can't say two, is about a guy who walks out into the wilderness to hunt. And I already covered two of these stories. Of course, bear with me. This was a weird one. Right here we have a body. I'm not going to show it too long. As you can probably see, it is graphic. And in the vicinity of this was a camp setup. Stuff that was spread out. Here is where the point of separation happened, because this woman and her husband, for whatever reason, split up. You would think being out in the mountains, they would stay together. But they were searching for mushrooms. There's something about these mountains that have good mushrooms that you can eat. But as you can see, point of separation here down with the red dot. Body found there. Look at the wide span. I mean, not only this one, and how you can see in that picture before, her in a fetal position. She was naked. And just very bizarre. There's only a couple things, maybe a few things, but whether or not we have ourselves some damn type of serial killer in the mountains, you would think, all right? But the terrain in the mountains where these people go and are found, no human being, they say, could even walk, nor hike, nor climb, unless you do have proper equipment. But yeah, there's no chance in hell that a human being can do in where these people go. So we're talking something of the nature of a massive beast with, far beyond strength. And, it's more or less leading to And I'm starting to put it all together in my thoughts, theories, ideas, that's it. But wherever a Bigfoot sighting is seen, whether or not it's a skinwalker, whether or not it's, Bigfoot, Wendigo, Chalupa Grande, or whatever you call them things, I think it's got a lot to do with Native Americans. And why am I putting that Chupa Grande? I can't even say the name, I forget it, but it's supposedly a Mexico creature. But back in the day, which I found in a whole nother video we'll be going over, I just watched this episode of the Chaka Indian pet. I believe it might have been in New Mexico, the Pueblo Indian Native Americans were trading with the Mexicans. So only one could just go off with imagination of what went wrong between the Mexicans and Native Americans, especially trading, like the white man trading land, trading this, trading clothes, trading tobacco, and then all of a sudden you're ripped off. And whether or not this has been thought of, I never heard of it, but I'm putting all the pieces of these puzzles together and why these creatures are made, and Bigfoot, I believe, is one of them. Wherever, there's a lot of times wherever you see a Bigfoot sighting, Native Americans roamed near that area. And that's only proven in videos that and these creatures are made to keep the enemies off Native American land. Don't disrespect. Call me crazy, but I'm sorry. I take this stuff in full sight of my vision because, not only do I need to find out what part of Native American I am, but I believe I am here to tell the tales like my fellow Native American ancestors did and still do. But I don't know if Dave ever thought of this, but I'm watching this, show last night, and it was actually pretty cool thing, hosted by Robert Redford. But we'll go over that in another video. But finding out, the pathways that they made in New Mexico, down to Mexico for trading. And they had these perfectly lined buildings. For the, it was, you could pretty much say for the calendar reasons. And it's almost similar to out there Mystery Rock with that calendar. People are calling that a calendar thing to line up with the sun, the moon. And many Native Americans do use the moon for the purpose of things. So, with that being said, not only that, and being out there in the mountain ways. Oh yeah, you're out in sacred land. You're out, traveling with, obviously, you shouldn't be. Especially when you find yourself in a predicament where you end up dead. So moving on, she was found, this was like in 2015 or something. Audrey body was found August 4th, the 5th day of the search. Oh, there, no. And these, these are them creepy ones. When autopsy's finding is indicate hypothermia, find disease at autopsy. My phone. I get the damn light. Dying of hypothermia, but what led her to that position? These people ain't got no medical either, no medical. One hunter did. He had a blind eye. He backfired a gun, lost an eye. He had something else, but it wasn't, a little bit of loss of hearing. But, when you're a hunter and you train yourself, don't get me wrong, man. You gotta give these guys some props because they, I could have been a hunter, but I didn't want to because the main thing I don't like about hunting is sitting in the middle of the woods and just waiting. I don't want to wait for no freaking deer to come along and say, I'll be out there just looking around. That's the only thing that shied me away from that. Other than that, I was being taught how to hunt. I mean, I could do it. I got a common sense of things. But when you got these kind of professionals that go out and they day in, eat, sleep, live hunting, experience to the core, it's just. And then they were saying about this woman, how all the autopsy found she could have drowned. But the way, even David Pollardine says it, no way she could have drowned the way she was positioned. And I would even say there was probably even no water in her lungs. But, I mean, it's insane. And these are all locations, that throughout these mountain ridges of where all these missing hunters happened. And it's just insane, though, that, you got these experienced hunters. And the next story, I mean, really gets you. Because here we have a camp. Now, this is the one I was talking about. The guy ended up somewhere. Was it better? All right, there. So we got a camp. He was supposed to travel up to this catch for something, I forget. I don't know if it was hunting or picking something up, but something he normally did. And of course, here we have this hunter that, hardcore, living the roots of our ancestors of walking. So you can see camp starts here. You take, you look into the right, the line goes up, and then there's this fork. Now the GPS on his phone, I guess, which is found later on, and no information could determine anything because obviously he must have got destroyed. But the GPS pings him over here. Now he's supposed to take, swing that hard left and walk all up to this place. It's water. Maybe, I don't know if he was getting water or so. I forgot what the hell it was, but whatever it was, he took a time to go up here, the camp, and hunt. Maybe he would sit up there and wait for deer because there's water there. But the GPS pings him off over here. Now, what would make this man, walk off route when he knows in multiple times he goes to the same place? And then he even gets even freaking crazier. And this is one of the most, stories in this one that's right, you take notice of. And not only did they say, the woman drowned of hypothermia, what led her to this spot? I mean, she was way off course, too. And this one, now mind you, throughout 2 maybe years, this guy's stuff randomly started coming up. Or maybe, I don't know if it was 2 years, maybe 2 months or something. But whatever, they kept looking, stuff randomly started coming up like, something wanted people to see this. Now, in ways, this makes you think, is this a freaking serial killer? But mind you, this is going to blow your mind. There's the GPS spot, as you can see there, off-route, way over here. But when they were in a helicopter, when David was in there and they were showing him up in the air, the aerial of the path between this GPS location and where now his boots were found. Huge huge cliff. Now, what kind of person's gonna take another person, mind you, with his bow, his backpack, a lot of equipment this guy still had on him? What human being is gonna make someone either climb or they're freaking carrying them up a huge cliff? And they were saying throughout this area between the GPS and the boots, the ridge of the walkway gets narrow and you will slip down in these graveled rocks. Eventually, the guy said in the helicopter, you walk along that ridge, you're gonna fall because you're walking on gravel, you're walking on like type of hand, softball size, maybe basketball size rocks. And he said eventually you're going to slide down because it was loose gravel. Everything was loose. I'm a friggin' construction company or a quarry company make a fortune out there with them rocks. But to get to them where that site where the boots were, you would be climbing up a huge ridge of a mountain. And it looked at least 40 to 50 feet high, maybe even higher. So you tell me what kind of killer or anybody got someone gonna bring them up this high ridge, walk along terrain of rocks that you're gonna slip and fall because they're all loose. Tell me who? But that ain't it. And it gets more bizarre. There's the boots. Set there neatly. Just sit there. What kind of person does that? Now, we find the backpack. I think the backpack might have been found a year later. And mind you, look at this. Boots down here. Backpack way the hell up here. Now, what is very strange about the backpack is I think that was in another terrained area where no one can get to. Mind you, everything was spread out. And the remains, I think that might have been found where the backpack was too. But 11 miles. I hope I got that. There it is. Trying to take all these stupid pictures and I get everything in the way and blah, blah, blah. But camp, I think in between here is the boots, then the remains, all the way to hell over here. 11 frickin' miles away. Now, I ain't even done with this. Because you take a damn good look at this. And I saved the best for last. Now, where the boots were found, so forth, and, going along, so the boot, I ain't got that damn pencil. Now, if you look at the camp word, you go halfway in before the 11 miles. If you go halfway in, that's where the boots are found. You go over the 11 miles I think that's where the backpack was found. I can't remember if it was friggin' near the friggin' body or there. But the boots, let alone being in the middle of 11 miles in the camp, remains way up there. Now, somewhere in the mix of all this, too, that where that body was found, and this is to save the best for last, keep you in suspense. They said with a backpack was found too. I think maybe, damn it, I forgot. But whatever, wherever it was, it snowed. And And they said that this guy, and I forgot that, I don't know, did I take a picture of the cup? I don't think I did. He had a cup. There was a cup found too. The thermos. Set like someone was drinking it, the office, the ranger, or park ranger, I guess, said. I'm going to keep you in suspense. And with that cup, you could look down, I don't know how far down, but if you look down, you see a road to safety. He could have easily went down if this was him drinking that coffee or tea or whatever the hell was in it. He could have went down and walked down the road of safety and got help. That's how close he was where the cup was found. But the body, and when it snowed, there was another 6 miles, I believe, where the backpack was found. All right, 6 miles. They're saying now he could have died of hypothermia where the boots were. Because I think there was some clothes scattered around the boots somewhere further down. And supposedly, right, just like that Russia, where the guys and people were all found with their bodies stripped of clothes. Hypothermia, leaves you to start stripping your clothes because you're hot, you're burning. It's not like you're freezing to death. And then you're left, with no clothes on. Well, this guy had no boots. And they claim not finding footprints through the snow now. But they said if this was true of finding his body 6 miles more away from the boots, he walked all that way with no boots. People scratching their head. Yeah, how did he die of hypothermia if he's walking 6 miles but yet with no boots? That's insane. There's no possible way a man can walk 6 miles with no boots unless he's some... I can't even say that. Unless he's just some freaking crazy man that don't feel pain. But you know what? I've been out in the friggin' rigid cold with no shoes, and yeah, you got friggin' just a mere few seconds. You feel your feet just... and getting frostbit and not getting frostbit, man. Oh, god damn. It's insane. This whole thing's insane. What grabbed a hold of this man and dragged him? What are these creatures doing to, in my thoughts, theories, ideas? Tormenting? Or are they just proving? But then again, they say Bigfoot, they are protecting their land. And they are watching, someone said. I haven't soon to finish that, and I don't know if I can find it, but there was a guy that went in a set of woods or a forest deep, and he got in contact with a Bigfoot, and I think that shit is legit on that video. I do have it up of who he was, but I forgot. I was supposed to go back and watch it, because where I left off, he was, getting tapped on his tent by the damn. It was right outside his tent. And you can hear the grunting. And that leads me to the next story. Because they were back in 1971. Right here. Now, of course, they don't have no images, but they have audio. And I'm going to play it. But you can see this red piece of wood here. That was just a marking to indicate of a door. That they had a cable, a wire cable pulled back and tied. Because there was a camp that they're not allowed to go to anymore. Or have a setup like this. I mean, they can go there and camp in tents, but everything they had down there for their researching, and someone did come up missing in this case because of this creature, and I think, right, they're protecting. And that's what it is. If you think about it and you go down the line of history about Native Americans and their creatures and laws and myths, everything is to protect their sacred land, especially up in the mountains. But of course, in another story off of this, and it don't relate to missing, it relates to someone saw a goddamn true live predator. If you've seen the movie Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger and the big clear blob that runs through the trees of the predator being disappeared and invisible, some woman saw that. And I gotta do that in another video because something happened with the camera. Because of, probably because of the frequency or the magnetic fields of the spaceship, mind you, that flew over a band, high school band practicing in a football field. Everybody saw it. I don't even know why they didn't take a picture. Of course, kids ain't gonna think to bring their camera. But then again, like I tell everybody, you gotta have that damn camera on your hand set so you can friggin' have it anywhere to catch anything. And yeah, I carry two phones just in case I need a camera real quick. You never know. But these guys right here caught some damn good audio and they were scared shitless one night back in 1971. And what makes me think, and this proves my theory on why I think Native Americans made Bigfoot. Let alone if they didn't make Bigfoot and it all goes to supernatural, because they were talking about how this thing, they opened up the door or something and it wasn't there type thing. You know, these things only want to be seen, but then again, you got them portholes and stuff like that. Man, call me crazy. But another thing about these mountains and disappearing, I think there's something else that I just thoughts, theories, ideas, and I don't care who calls me crazy. There could be secret goddamn passages, doors that open up. And I was just thinking about this, and I never said this before. But in them mountains, boy, when the bodies do intend to end up missing, or if they're just left, they're left to make a purpose, a reason, a statement. But the ones that do end up missing, oh, I'm telling you, them things, I guarantee, something is sucking you under the earth. Because underneath them mountains, man, is a big, huge mystery. I would like to know what's in mountains, because I've always had an eerie feeling every time I see a huge, giant mountain. It just makes me feel like, whoa, what is in that? And this would explain it. Native Americans lived around the ridges with a lot of mountain, Mount St. Helen. Of course, there's that story of Bat Squatch. Out there, volcanic explosion, someone's seen it. Hey, it's only the prove and true. These spirits don't want people messing around. And they are, in all so many years or so much time, they'll give you a notice. And they'll make you believe. But with these guys, and what makes me think why I think the beast of Bigfoot is because the audio they found. And these hunters were mimicking it in this. But if you listen, when you hear this audio, to me, it sounds like a damn Native American chant. And their hoots and hollers that they used to do back in the day to warn other, whether it be tribes they're fighting with or their kind going after the enemy, making all these noises, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo, and crazy stuff, bird calls, because they're mimicking so they can distract the enemy. But these guys, catch this. Come on. So you hear that, whoa! All them hoots and hollers, you could tell the closer the vocals were, them are the hunters mimicking. Then you hear banging of type. It ain't no different than a knock. And I know for a fact that the knocking is, I think, Thoughts, Theories, Ideas, that they're alerting others of their nature. So, I'm telling you, wow. And this right here, like I say, them hoots and hollers sound like old Native Americans back in time trying to scare or just mimic things or make, the enemy think, what the hell is that? I don't want to go in the woods, and then they talk about, as you see the writing, I could get as good as I could, that these were vocals of a, beast or man, saying that it's a 7 foot tall, and they can get the measurements of this, probably 8 feet tall. Of course, Bigfoot's known to be huge beast animal, but I mean, yeah, you're sitting in a friggin' thing like this, and you heard him, he was gonna say we're gonna shoot our way out of there. They were scared shitless. Because these things, probably 2, maybe 3 of them were surrounded them, observing them. But they made it out of there alive, because, right, any type of beast of a skinwalker, Pukwudgie, Bigfoot, being all Native American, they're just, if you tell a story and you're alive to tell it, they're only giving you a warning. Be careful. Don't go too far, don't go too deep. Don't come up here disrespecting. So, that's what it's all about. And this right here is audio proof, I think. So, anyways, until that next video, be safe, take care, and always believe. Proof is coming. Proof. More proof. I'm about to give you some proof. I have proof. Watch it. Getting close to whatever's out there. Out.